baseball.
Baseball.
So
Yeah.
what is this?
This is our collaboration with Nakona baseball gloves. You guys familiar with Nakona?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
He's a baseball freak.
I love baseball.
Well, so is Jeremy. So
Are you serious?
Yeah, growing up, he was dying for a Nakona glove. His parents were like, "Ha ha ha! You could go buy a $35 Rawlings one."
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so about 4 years ago, when we were thinking about who we wanted to do a collaboration with, we were like, "What's another Texas brand that's known for amazing leather?" And so Jeremy
Who else?
automatically was
Nakona.
like,
Yeah.
"Nakona."
Feel this.
Yeah. And so
I could smell it.
My God.
Yeah, it's been. Oh, everyone comes in and smells them. They
First thing you
smell
do.
them before they try them.
Are you
on.
serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been fun, and it was been such a popular collaboration for us that we ended up closing it up and making it a boot out of it too. So we're essentially using the leather that they use on their gloves.
Okay,
on their
that's
flip-flops and
really
shoes.
cool.
Where's the boot?
The boot is over there.
That's amazing.
It's
I mean,
pretty-
I could smell the leather on it. That's so fun.
It's
Yeah.
fun. People will come in
So-
and tell us stories about how they got their glove from their grandfather, and it was generational. And
Yeah,
so
it's
here's-
special.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. So here's one of the pieces. From
No,
it.
that is amazing.
Feel it, dude.
Dude, that is crazy.
It feels like a baseball
It
glove.
does. Well, it feels like that soft leather baseball glove.
Oh, wow.
You guys really care about this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
We were
Love
talking
it.
earlier, and I said, you've got your DNA on all of these products, don't you?
Yeah.
And she does.
The fact that, so Jeremy is
Cool.
Lila's husband,
Yes.
and he is a big baseball fan. And so why not
Right.
do a collaboration with a glove maker
And it was
that's
fun.
here in Texas?
Yeah, we hired Cole Hamels to be our ambassador and spokesperson.
No
Oh,
way.
great idea.
And at
What?
that point in time, he was the starting pitcher for the Rangers, so that was like extra fun for all of us, especially Jeremy. And he's such a good guy, so we enjoyed
Really?
it. Yeah, he's a
We
great
got to
dude.
get him on the show.
Yeah,
He has a
heck
good
yeah.
story. Okay, so tell us about the collaboration over here with Peter Millar here.
Peter
because
Millar.
This is an amazing flip flop.
Thank you. So they reached out maybe 3 years ago. They were producing footwear, but they didn't have a flip flop. And obviously, everything is trending towards casual, right?
Wait
Right.
a minute. Peter Millar reached out to you guys.
Yes. Yes.
What?
So you're not having to hope he returns your call. He's calling you.
Well, not the Peter Millar.
Well,
but
I know it. What
their
okay,
CEO.
yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And
Wow.
So it was great. Jeremy and I flew to
How cool
their
is that?
headquarters and had a meeting of the minds, and everybody had a little piece of it. And we produced this collaboration. It's our second year running with it, and it's premium leather. It's vegetable tanned. It's some of the best leather out there, and it was fun because it allowed us to get into almost every country club in the country with it.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
So
fun.
is
You've got their
this-
brand.
Yeah.
So is this memory foam?
That is so cool.
This is EVA, which is a form of rubber. It's not technically memory foam, but
Okay.
our toe piece, which we have a patent on, this is memory foam. So it's going to
Okay.
spring back and mold to the shape of in between your toes.
So if you look at this real quick. If you look here, it's thicker than a typical.
Right, right.
Rich and I were talking about how ridiculous patents are because
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
patent as long as you've got something that's truly unique, you can get a patent for it. That I've never even thought of. What do you even call that?
Yeah.
We call it a toe post.
Toe
post.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, say it with us one time.
Toe
post.
post. It's
Okay.
soft and it's designed to fit the contour of your toes, which is the first thing that starts hurting when you're wearing flip flops.
Especially for a long period of time.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Wow, interesting. So, what else cool thing? You guys are obviously a lifestyle brand. I'm looking around here, and it's filled with fun things. The shirts, shorts. Is that new?
Yes, relatively new.
I got to get
Yes.
a shirt.
Yeah.
I just love that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Those are made here.
Yeah, they're domestically made, sourced, all of the above. Recycle cotton.
Important.
Yeah, made here domestically.
That's amazing.
That's good. That's an accomplishment because I know how hard it is to do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It
Okay,
is.
what about these?
I love this line. It's relatively new. We've had it in the collection for about 2 years.
Okay.
And so this is it's full grain leather.
Okay.
It's vegetable tanned, which is basically an organic way of tanning leather. So if you feel it, it's like buttery soft.
What?
And then
yeah.
we use a pig
Man.
leather on the lining, which sounds unsexy, but
Pig?
and it's basically a very amiable leather that's soft in terms of breaking in. And this is a custom design. All Harimaris are boat safe. They're non-marking.
Oh, look at that.
yeah,
That's very cool.
So you don't slip.
exactly.
I like the fact that they have bacon on their shoes,
That's
Rocky?
that's the dumbest thing I think you've ever said, man. Bacon.
Okay, before I hit him with a
I'll get out of the way.
bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, what about
Excuse me.
this line? So you have, how many different lines do you have, first of all?
Oh, goodness. I've been steeped into 22, but great. How many do we have? 8 ladies' lines.
Oh, wow.
About the same for men. And sandals and flip-flops. Yeah,
Sandals
next year
and
it'll be
flip-flops.
almost double that.
So these are definitely more stylish. These are the ones that some of the women wear.
Yeah.
These are called Sydney?
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Which are the ones that you can get at Neiman's? Is that more the look, or is it all of it?
It's more of our premium stuff for sure. So in
Okay.
this space.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we tried to incorporate comfort not just in the toe post and the sandals, but
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. So there's memory foam here. We'll put a little toe grip here. There's gore on the side so that obviously it stretches with your foot when you walk.
Nice.
It's a leather outsole, but we did a rubber heel tap for grip. So
Okay.
they're beautiful. You can dress them up, but you can also, they're functional, right?
Those are little details that you can only think of if you've actually had a history of wearing these things.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
guys
that
probably
is
don't wear
really
too
cool.
many.
It's
that
something
style.
that Rocky knows a lot about.
Yeah.
Wearing women's.
I wear a lot of women's shoes.
Yeah.
I actually started my own company so that I could wear flip-flops to work and
Are you
take Fridays
serious?
off. That's why I started my own firm.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of price are we talking about with the shoes, with the flip flops?
So we start retail at 55 and we go up to 110.
Oh, so they're premium, well made. They're high quality.
Yeah, absolutely. Most premium materials, the best leathers. We use 100% rubber, which a lot of brands don't do to cut costs. We've also got memory foam in the strap in some of the lines.
Memory foam in the strap. Man, you could
Where-
wear
Are
those
you
things
serious?
all week.
We're all about out of the box and
Yeah.
comfort.
Why did you start this? Like, what was your reasoning for doing? Okay, I got 2 questions.
Okay.
Rocky, can I?
This is a diatribe that may or may not ever end. So go ahead, please.
Where did Hari Mari, the name, come from?
So we lived in Indonesia for about 3 years, from 2007
Indonesia.
to 2010. And so Hari in the Indonesian language means of the sun. Mari in Latin means of the sea. So kind of a fun play on words pertaining to flip-flops.
Of the sun, of the sea.
Yeah, but allowing
Yeah.
us to
Mic
bring it full
drop.
circle.
Yeah.
And so you came up, and now did you come up with the flip flops while you were there?
No.
Okay.
It all happened afterwards.
Yeah. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Did you just go, hey, why don't we start a
Flip-flop company?
multi-million-dollar flip-flop company?
Well, when we were living there, we were both working on several different projects. Jeremy used to be a political consultant. He produced as part of a presidential campaign that he was working on there, which we can get more into because I'm kind of just dropping bombs here about that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
he produced a documentary film about malnutrition, specifically how it affected kids in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
I
Which
got
she
on the-
had firsthand knowledge of.
Yes, I got on the board, and there's no short way of telling the story, but I'll bring it full circle. So
Okay.
I got on the board for the American Women's Association, spent my time helping kids in orphanages in and around Jakarta. So we had this
Wow.
really wild, sad, rewarding philanthropic experience living there. And so when we moved back, we wanted to continue that here in the States, but we didn't want to start a 501c3. We wanted to start our own business
Sure.
that gave back.
Figure out a way.
Exactly. And so literally we just went shopping for flip-flops and because we'd worn out the brand that we'd been wearing for decades.
Sure.
And noticed that literally the exact same flip-flops that were hanging on the wall in 2007 were the exact same flip-flops hanging on
Yep.
the wall in 2010 we got back.
Really?
Maybe different iterations of
It's
black
an
and
interesting
brown.
observation.
Yeah, and Jeremy was looking for something that was elevated, had a pop of color, something kind of dressier, didn't
Yeah.
exist. I wanted a leather sandal that didn't destroy your feet in the break-in process. So that's kind of how the idea began, and here we are.
Oh, you know what? These are size 11.
Oh, how about that? You
may
can
have to-
actually might be able to talk her into.
I may have to
A
try it on.
discount.
Can I try it on real
I think
quick?
you should.
Can I?
Yeah,
These
absolutely.
ones are- really?
Yeah, of course.
Rocky?
Now's your
Okay,
chance, man.
look. Okay, so I'll just let you know right now. All right, my feet. One time I was getting a pedicure, and the lady that was giving me a pedicure, she said I have nice soft feet, and that I know work.
You probably have delicate hands too. I bet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
Okay,
we've
here
got
we
two
go.
different styles here.
Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and try on two different styles.
Do it.
Mind my toenails.
There's nothing wrong with your toenails. We've
okay.
seen some gnarly toes.
I bet you've seen some interesting
yeah.
stuff in here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow. It fits perfect. Even on the back. Yeah.
They don't feel cheap, if
Good.
that makes sense. They feel like they're nice.
There's a
firm
certain
flip-flops.
element that
Yeah.
you just know, right? Like
Right.
with t-shirts and hats and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
This is plasticky or this is just
Yes.
cheap. Not the case.
Mission accomplished.
And I
Yep.
like the toe. I like that. Oh, this one. Rocky.
Is that the one?
Rocky.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm serious.
Well, I
These
love
are
the red. I
different.
love the red outline on
What
the
do your
bottom.
toes look like right now?
My toes are hideous. I don't want to do it. But I am going to take a pair.
Good.
I'm all about it.
This is Harimari's flagship store. So this is the first one,
It is.
and you're doing more.
Yes, we've got some in the works for next year. We're looking at a couple different cities in the southeast.
In the southeast.
They've
You better be ready.
got the guy that they probably stole from Billy Reed. It's one of my favorite brands.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great, really cool brand, and it's actually kind of got the same vibe in their stores all over the place. And
Really?
Yeah, and you can just kind of tell that he's got a little bit of influx in here, input.
I
Right?
love it. I when I walked in here for the first time, it's super cool. You can totally tell that it's part of the lifestyle of
Yeah.
how people live. Like you want comfort, you want style, and you want them to have high quality. Obviously,
Yeah.
so fantastic.
You can tell by his $800 tennis shoes that he's all about footwear. I can't believe you, man.
Love it.
What the heck?
They're Texas.
That's awesome. It's gotta be. You gotta represent, right?
Oh my gosh, Texas. Well, this looks good. I don't know if I would wear a shoe and a flip flop, but you know,
You're a trendsetter. Who knows, man?
I know.
Get something started.
The story's not over, right, Rock?
Yeah, this gets a lot. I bet there's a lot of depth to this.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the story of how Harimari really came to be,
Yeah.
and it is interesting to say the least.
Yeah, it's not what you're expecting. I'll
it's-
tell you that.
Definitely not what you're expecting. We certainly appreciate it. You having us here, give us a tour, and showing us your
Yeah,
amazing
Lila,
products.
thank you for
So-
having us.
Pumped to have you guys here.
No,
Thank you for coming.
this is good. So stay tuned. Right after this, the rest of the Harimari story.
Here we come. Rock and Rich.
All right, here we are. These things are definitely on. We are here once again with Lila Stewart. She is the co-founder of Harimari. And first of all, thank you for that tour.
Yeah.
This
Yeah, that was really
beautiful place.
Well,
I mean,
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me on the show, and thanks for coming to the store. I enjoy giving tours.
well, this is fantastic. We love telling the story. One of my favorite podcasts is How I Built This.
Yep.
And coincidentally, it's one of her favorite podcasts.
Well, it's actually kind of has her DNA all over it because she built this.
This, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
She-
really
she
cool.
built
Really
this.
cool story.
So, I want to go back to the very beginning. Obviously, in the first part of the show, you told us about the products, the quality of the products, the ideas, and sort of how you kind of come up with those. Jeremy likes baseball. Jeremy is, once again, her husband, who is a big baseball fan, and they did a collaboration with Nakona Gloves, which is, I tell you what, they make some fantastic gloves. They're actually here in Texas.
Got that super soft leather feel.
Oh, yeah.
People
They're the best.
people swear by them.
Oh, yeah. I love them.
Yeah.
It's like they're automatically broken in.
Yeah.
So
Superstition. I mean, those guys,
Yeah.
they won't change their glove. A lot of them for a whole career.
I won't.
Yeah. Pretty
And I only
neat.
play grown men's softball.
That was a really cool idea to make it into a
Yeah.
flip flop. I mean, who would have thunk it, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was all Jeremy.
Was
Yeah,
it?
Was it?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Really excited about it.
Jeremy's
yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's a cool.
So tell us the story about you guys getting started. And, we talked before about you being in Indonesia and how this all came about and how you birthed Harimari.
Sure. So Jeremy and I are both from here in Dallas. Had a really cool opportunity back in 2007 to move to Jakarta. At that point in time, I was in the music business. I was head of sales for AEG Live here in the
Really?
region. And Jeremy was a political consultant, and he'd done a lot of work in Haiti and Mexico.
Doing political consulting. Why would he be working in Haiti?
Believe it or not, U.S. style campaigns work really well in third world countries. right?
That actually makes sense.
I mean,
they love Western culture.
Rocky, it's an easy leap. You're a political consultant, and you just go right into flip flops.
Yeah. It's not much of
It's a normal segue.
Yeah, it's an easy segue, easy transition.
So when you got to Indonesia, what was it about the kids and the culture that made you so attracted to it?
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking, but so incredibly rewarding at the same time. So if you haven't been to Indonesia, because Jakarta isn't like a destination hotspot in terms of tourism,
Right.
Okay.
but 80% of the population lives below the poverty level. So families living on
80%.
yes.
So that's starvation.
Nice.
Yeah, they live on less than $1 a day. So as you can imagine, it's pretty tough to see day in and day out for 3 years. And then there's no access to healthcare. And I love painting a picture. Have you maybe seen the movie Slumdog Millionaire, which is
Yes.
it's exactly what Jakarta was like. To a T.
What?
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, you know what I love about it is the people don't need money to be happy. They're some of the most joyful. You can see it in their eyes.
Yeah.
They are just so and they love Americans.
Well, I love that you say that because it was really hard. The adjustment was really difficult, but I had to remind myself they don't know any different,
Yeah.
Right.
right? And so
Our
that's-
problem is we know too much. We know
Yeah.
what we're missing out on. We deal with FOMO daily.
Well, we trade the important for the urgent, and we find ourselves running around chasing money and trying to make things work.
Yeah.
And they don't.
Yeah, it was a very grounding, humbling experience that gave us an insane amount of perspective. Basically.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were there for 3 years. It wasn't just a quick trip.
Yeah.
3
in it.
years.
3 years, learn the language. We were in it, and
Can you say Rocky's an idiot?
I honestly don't remember.
He does
Oh
this
my
every
God.
I
time.
know like
Gosh.
the basics. I
Every
didn't know
time
how
we
to
have
like,
a bilingual guest, he's like,
hilarious.
say Rocky's an idiot.
Well, I learned the basics. I didn't learn like cuss words in the Indonesian language, but
Okay.
so
Okay.
yeah, so
I
we
saw
were there
that one coming.
for 3 years, and as part of Jeremy's, it was a former general wanting to run for president against the incumbent.
Okay.
So they hired Jeremy and his then business partner to run his presidential campaign. So and it's very different from the United States in that you don't generals there don't go on the news. They have no brand ID. They don't.
They're not considered rock stars like they are here.
Not at all.
Really?
No, it's very different. And so they had.
Okay, I would have thought. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
I would have
please.
thought it was.
He's not sorry he
opposite.
interrupted.
Rocky. I would have thought it was different, Rocky. Honestly, because over there, isn't it very tribal?
In outside of Jakarta, yes. Once you get into the islands, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But Jakarta's pretty. I mean, it's like the New York of Indonesia. I don't know how else to say it, but
Okay.
it's still very underdeveloped. It's still third world.
Did the general speak English? Is that a second language there?
He did only because he was U.S. educated, whereas most people don't.
Really?
Yeah, most people only know how to speak Bahasan, which is the Indonesian language. So,
Bahasan.
yeah.
Okay. If you know how to say Rocky is an idiot in Bahasan, please
It's
message
not
me.
funny, Lila.
Okay. So, all right, let's get back to how you started this. So you go through all of this. You're in Indonesia. You get grounded, and then what happened?
Well, we moved back in 2010, and jumping back into our old jobs in corporate America, not to knock it, just wasn't of interest.
Was it a buzzkill?
Wow.
Well, I loved my previous job, but I wanted to do something philanthropic. And
You wanted to do something to make a difference?
I did.
Yes,
We
impact.
both did. Absolutely.
That's
You
why
can't-
we're sitting here.
Well,
That's why I
It
deal with
actually
Rocky's
it
ass.
actually is. I mean, half the things we say are idiotic, but we really are here for that reason.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you are too. I think it's awesome that you got that bee in your bonnet and decided, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be another corporate robot. We're going to figure out a way to give some money back to these
Yes.
kids
Yep.
and help them live better lives.
Yep.
Isn't that kind of how it worked?
that's what we were hoping for.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is that how it's been playing out?
It has. It's been really incredible. The money that we donated actually for 2020 went to Cook Children's here in Fort Worth, and they just renamed their infusion center after Harimari, where their kids get treated with pediatric cancer. So
No.
yeah, pretty cool.
Oh.
I get
That's
goosebumps.
the coolest thing I've ever heard. And
Yeah.
so, what about the kids in Indonesia? Have you guys still maintained any contact with any of those families or any of those people that you met?
I get that question a lot. No, it's really hard to because the language barrier, the time difference.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the time difference.
Yeah.
And
And
they
they
only-
probably don't have cell phones.
They do, but they're all prepaid, so the number's constantly changing. So I'm friends with on Facebook with a whole host of
Oh, that's cool.
of the folks that we interacted with, whether it was our drivers or bodyguards or people that Jeremy worked with, and I've stayed in touch with a lot of the women that I became friends
Bodyguards,
with.
like Men on Fire bodyguards.
Yeah, Jeremy's client insisted we have bodyguards at all
Because they
times.
could snatch you up.
It's actually not a violent culture.
Okay.
They just didn't want us to ever be in a position where we were kidnapped and held for ransom.
Oh my gosh.
But again, it's not a violent culture. The likelihood of that happening over there is next to nothing. Just
Yeah.
I think just for extra safety because we were American to have that added.
I got a little interesting sidebar. One of my friends he's a billionaire, and his people made him get K&R insurance.
Yeah.
Which is kidnap and ransom.
Yeah.
And if you've got kidnap and ransom and you get snatched by the cartel in Mexico, they'll put you up at the nicest hotel, feed you, give you everything you need. If you don't have the K&R coverage, they start sending body parts to your family members until you pay them.
Who
what they want.
provides that though? What insurance company?
He gets it through Chubb, but I'm sure there's others.
Chubb?
Chubb.
C-U-
CHUBB.
Really?
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by Chubb.
If
Okay.
it wasn't, it ought to be, because I'm
Okay.
sure a lot of our billionaire listeners are going to want to run out and get K&R
That's
coverage.
true. If you don't have it, you better
Yeah.
get it. At least key man at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. So you have this dream of making a difference and have an impact, and where did the flip flop thing come in?
Well, we wanted to start our own business that had a give back versus a 501c3. So there were several different ideas that we were throwing out.
Which is a
on the table.
non-traditional nonprofit.
Correct. So there were several ideas that we were throwing out and thinking about, and Jeremy was doing the majority of the R&D on. And we literally had worn out our previous sandals when we were living in Indonesia.
Sure.
And went to St. Bernard Sports, which coincidentally was the first store that picked us up. And we noticed that literally the exact same flip-flops that were hanging on the wall in 2007 were the same ones in 2010.
Is that the sales angle you took to them when you came back with your own flip-flop?
Well, in part, yeah.
That's a great
Wow.
angle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, man, I noticed that you haven't had a new product.
Yeah.
Their
In
sales
10
were-
years,
I bet you their sales were pretty steady. I mean, it wasn't like they were
you
going
don't
off
fix
the
it if it ain't
charts.
broke.
But if you bring something new and different and wildly cool,
Yeah.
I bet it was a game changer for their sales too, right?
Well, I would hope so. And I think the trend that we're on kind of speaks to that,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And so we felt like if we could come to market and fill all the blanks that we felt like it was missing on the wall, focus on color, comfort, premium, give back, lifestyle versus surf, because every major flip-flop brand is steeped in the surf culture.
Yeah. Reef.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Olokai,
Yep.
Rainbow, Quicksilver.
Billabong.
And while there's certainly a market for that, we felt like none of that resonated with us. We've never surfed. We live in Dallas.
There's no surfing in Dallas?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a buzzkill.
So we felt like
help us.
there was nothing that was resonating to us in addition from a product standpoint, from a marketing standpoint. And then you put all that together and wanting to have a give back component. And
Yep.
that's how we were going to set ourselves apart from the rest.
Interesting. Wow. But this did not come without bumps and bruises.
Not at all. We've had many along the way.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you what did your parents do, by the way?
When we told them we were doing this?
Yes.
Well, I was pregnant with our first child. So they were
Not a
all
way to start a business when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
very
Great timing.
concerned. We had left, great jobs and careers, essentially paychecks behind. We just bought our first home. I was pregnant with Aiden at the time. And our parents and probably friends too thought we were nuts.
Yeah, well,
Hey, let's get
you
into
know what?
retail.
Yeah, you kind of were nuts, but I think you got to
Yeah.
be a little nuts to be able to pull off something like this.
Something has to be off.
You can't. That's right.
I mean, really, because that jump is a big jump. I mean,
Yeah.
and then you're doing it with your husband.
Yeah. It was a big leap of faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys really good friends?
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's my best friend.
Okay,
And
that's
I-
cool.
Dude.
I couldn't imagine doing it with anybody
Yeah.
else. I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
In the
Well-
beginning, when we were figuring out our lanes, it
You
wasn't
probably
always pretty.
Yeah,
Really?
You had some
Oh,
fights.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. of
What'd you get in
course.
arguments about?
Yeah. What was the biggest thing?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Was it designs
Is he
or
is he
suppliers?
marketing or
He's-
who's finance?
He's marketing, finance. I'm wholesale, PR,
Okay.
HR. We have our lanes.
But you're both design.
Yes, yes, essentially. We have a team now. I can't take credit for it. Our team's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, he was designing it. We were kind of shrinking it and pinking it for women and kind of figuring out as we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you
cool.
started grabbing your lanes and figuring out what you were good at, how did that affect your marriage? I mean, I don't want to get too personal, but
Yeah, no, it's been a wonderful blessing that we've been able to work together.
are you serious?
Yeah, because we're unique in that whatever his weaknesses are my strengths, and vice versa.
That's
right?
me and my wife.
It's like I couldn't do what he does, and he couldn't do what I do, right? And so it's very complementary. And it took us a little bit to figure those lanes out because it was just the two of us, and there was so much to be done. So there was crossover, but as we grew and we're able to hire people to fill in those blanks to make there less crossover, and we stay in our lanes, it's great. And
Yeah, well, you probably gravitate to the lane that you're the best at.
You're the best at, yeah.
Yeah, and then you just kind of find yourself in that lane. It's not like you drew it out, right?
So who's the CEO?
we both are.
Okay, really?
Co-CEOs.
So on paper, you're co-CEOs or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
But you're still private. I guess it doesn't really matter
Right.
in that way. Okay.
Right.
And does he handle more of the operations employees, or you said you do, I guess, HR?
It depends on what the role is of an employee is within a company as to who manages them. But we do have a president. You briefly mentioned him, Rocky, I think, downstairs.
Yep.
Jake Zupansky, who came from Billy Reed.
Yeah.
Who's amazing.
Yes.
And so he's taken on a big leadership role within the company.
I see.
Billy Reed is a really cool brand. It's kind of an off the beaten path brand.
Yes.
But the people who wear it love it. It's a lifestyle brand.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So as you guys were figuring this out, you started growing. So who would make the phone call to like Neiman's and all that? Like, how did all of that transpire?
Oh gosh, when we first got product in March of 2012,
You found a manufacturer.
we found a manufacturer. We ordered 25,000 pairs.
Wait a minute. Without having a buyer?
Yes.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
Your stock just went up, sister. 'Cause
Okay.
That took.
You want to talk about a leap of faith? You're throwing in everything.
Gosh. That is.
Well, do you want to hear a wild story about what happened with our first order?
Tell me.
Oh, no. No, please.
So at that point in time, my younger brother Barrett was working with us.
Okay.
And so he and Jeremy flew over to China to check on manufacturing.
Okay.
And they were literally in the manufacturer on the lines pulling pairs that were defective.
Okay.
And obviously being mindful.
Quality control.
Exactly. Thank you. And so thinking that all the pairs that they were DQing were not going to make their way back to us, thinking that what they were allowing to continue on the belt per se to get to us. Well, March of 2012 arrives, the shipment arrives, and our customs agent calls us.
Oh no.
And says,
I've had that phone call.
oh, it's the worst.
They have so much power.
Your made in China stickers are too small. And we're like, what? We sent pictures of all similar brands, the size of their stickers, and they didn't like that. They're like, you have to go reseal, resticker, repackage 25,000 pairs before we allow you to get your inventory.
So you have to ship them back?
No, we ended up, they're like, you can either pay a government employee to do it at an insane rate per hour, or you guys can do it yourself. So we called family, friends, went to this warehouse in South Dallas that was filthy, and it was hot. And we opened, unsealed, restickered, resealed, retaped 25,000 pairs of flip-flops. Aiden's in a pack and play in the warehouse because she's 6 months old. I'm like bloody fingers by the end of it.
Your daughter.
Our daughter. Yeah.
That is
It's worse. So then we get the inventory, and all those DQ'd pairs that Jeremy and my brother Barrett.
There they are.
There they are. It gets worse. Yeah.
Wow.
We donate them to an organization, I won't say their name, telling us that they were going to go to Central and South America. Jeremy and I got married in Guatemala. They promised us that's where they would go. We were excited about that. It was a bummer, obviously, to get those pairs that we had to pay for, and maybe 30-40% of our of that 25K were defective. So it was a substantial number of pairs.
30 to 40, so almost half the order was defective.
Yeah.
Wow.
Adding insult to injury, the organization.
Wait a minute. It gets worse.
It gets worse.
I swear. Can't make this stuff up. Adding insult to injury, they didn't end up donating those pairs. They sold them at a black market in Los Angeles. And I found them because I'm on Instagram and I see this Harimari hashtag, and this is like within 2 weeks of us launching.
You can't make this up.
No, we have brand new brand, premium product, Harimari hashtags, $5 Harimari flash sales because this person had bought them.
So this could kill the brand.
Without a doubt.
Oh my!
Did you call the people you donated them to and go, what?
The CEO lived in Lakewood.
Oh, okay, so Lakewood,
I bet you're dying to say their
Lakewood
name.
is a community in Dallas in which we both live there.
Yes.
We actually don't live. We're probably a mile from each other, I bet, or less. And he lives there. Okay, give me his house number. I just want to know, just for
Right?
I mean, just for
That is insane. I can't believe that. Of course they did.
Unbelievable.
Dude, the only place to go in that situation is under a rock because there's no hiding what you just did. We just gave you how many thousand pairs of flip-flops to take care of these kids or whatever, and you sold them?
Right. So that's how Harimari started. That was our first month of being in business.
So you're like, are you second guessing anything?
No, when you're an entrepreneur, you guys know
You
how
don't.
it is. You
Yeah.
don't. You
Nope.
just keep going.
Go.
No,
Take the
go.
punches
answer's
and-
yes. That's it, man.
Yeah.
We're going
Wow.
to fix this.
Yeah.
That is so sad.
But that's also the greatest story I think I've ever heard.
Hey, you know what though? She the fact that you all dealt with this hump right in the beginning probably was a good thing,
That's true. That's true.
right? Do you feel like that helped you overcome some hurdles later?
Well, it was a good lesson to learn when we have product that we no longer want to handle the donations on our own.
Right.
Right.
Look, just give them the Rocky Knot. We'll
take care of it.
Marketplace. Sell them for a premium dollar.
Well, it's kind of like when your little league baseball team goes out and they crush the first team they play, and now they think they're good, but they actually
Yes.
played the worst team in the league.
That's true.
It's that. I mean, that's kind of how I see it because you went out and the worst thing that could possibly happened, and not only that, but the customs. That is the most chilling. I've had the same problem, and it is the most. You're done. Because you can't get to your product.
Yeah.
You're screwed
Right.
in every sense of the word.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to get to the rest of the story here in just a second after this quick break. And it gets even better.
Richard setting the bar. No charge for that.
It gets even more interesting. So stay with us. We'll be right back on Rockin' Rich with
Lila.
Harimari.
See you in a second.
See you in a second.
Thanks.
Here we are, back with Lila.
All right, we're back, and we are going to get to the next part of Harimari, where you were telling us that you went on the road for 6 months
Yeah.
to start selling shoes. Have you ever read Phil Knight's book?
I did.
That's that's
great.
what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
When you were talking about that, I was thinking Phil Knight. It sounds like Nike.
Did you just have to walk in cold, or were they expecting you? How did that?
It was all pretty cold.
Was it really?
Yeah. So I threw my samples in my car. My first trip was across Texas.
Okay.
And that was a little easier because we're a Texas brand, right?
Well, and you're in Dallas, and Dallas has got a lot here. There's a lot right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what a crazy story! You got this woman walking in with, I guess, some samples to say, "Hey, I want to add to your flip flop line," and they're like, "Sorry, we're full up." I mean, how was that? How did that go?
You know, I think I got one yes. I got 100 no's probably before I got a yes. So
That
it was
is
a
really
ton of rejection.
I heard
Yeah.
this story one time that you are one more no closer to a yes.
Yeah, but who knew when she was at number 99 that she had 99 more to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of rejection, but I felt I drank the Harimari Kool-Aid.
You believed in your product.
Absolutely. And so I didn't care what anybody said to me. If they said no to me, well, I was going to get him the next season, or I was going to get,
Sure.
in my mind, it wasn't a no. It was like, okay, well, I'll talk to you in a few
It's
months.
awkward. It's so hard.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you
Are you
went
talking
through.
about door-to-door sales
well,
like that?
yeah, when you walk in and they say
Cold.
no, and you're kind of just standing there with egg on your face, like, okay, well, maybe I'll see you next time. And they're like, no, probably
different.
not.
Yeah, everyone just wanted proof of concept. So there were some stores that were willing to try something new.
Okay.
And Rocky, when you were talking earlier about flip-flop sales in general, there was a decline in our industry, which is in part why we started a flip-flop brand.
Everybody had everything that was out there.
And had for years. And it was very stagnant. And
yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Who did the logo?
Originally, we hired an SMU intern and paid her $35 to
That kind of sounds like how I came up with my logo.
Yeah. But with Jeremy's oversight, of course, and vision.
Wow.
Richard actually came up with my logo, so that's why.
Okay, cool.
So you had the brand in place when you were going to door, like you were set with the brand.
Yeah. And that was one thing that we spent 2 years doing R&D. So it wasn't like I was just walking in the door with some flip-flops.
So you spoke the language.
Yeah, we had
How
done
are you supporting yourself?
Well, good question. I look back on it, and I really don't know how we did it because we didn't take paychecks for the first probably 2 years. Yeah.
At what point did you get the patent? Was that one of the stage one?
Well, we designed and filed for it right when we launched.
Okay.
But we didn't get it until 7 years later. And that's typical from what I understand from the U.S.
Well,
PTO
it's
office.
pending, so nobody can violate it during that period of time, is how I understand it. It's
They
patent
can,
law.
but once you get it, then they could be liable financially. So,
Okay,
but
right. I guess they can do anything, but still, it's a foothold.
Is it really?
Yeah, it kind of preserves you in the event that the patent does get granted. Of course, if it doesn't, then you're screwed, and they're competing against you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
So it is a risk for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So eventually, you start getting sales after 2 years.
So our first summer out of the gates, by the end of August, we had about 40 stores selling Mari. So then we took that quote unquote success and went to our first trade shows across the country.
Are you, not to talk finances or anything, but are you breaking even at this point?
Jeremy and I put in a pretty hefty sum into the business to get it off the ground.
25,000 pairs of shoes, R&D. Yeah. You're not taking a paycheck, so you're getting hit on both sides of the GL, is what I say.
Yes, we were heavily invested, and we were determined. Right,
this is going to work.
Yeah,
or we're going to die. Maybe
not die, but
right. You know what I mean?
We were going to make it work.
Yeah,
we
get rich or die trying.
Yeah.
Well, so at what point? Who was the first person that said yes? Do you remember?
St. Bernard Sports here in Dallas.
St. Bernard Sports.
I bet they have a special place in your heart.
They do. They're awesome. They've been really, really great partners over the years.
That's cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So after 2 years, you start making some money. Maybe not break even a little bit. Are you collecting a paycheck at this point?
About 2 years in, yes. Around that mark. I don't remember the exact date, but it was around 2 years in.
Okay. Did you have help from family or anything like that as far as like helping you guys get through financially?
No.
Investors?
We were bootstrapping it.
Are you kidding
entirely
me?
In the first couple of years for R&D and the first couple of years. Yes.
That is just so
it is
ballsy.
Crazy. Who was doing the math? Like who was doing the CFO?
Jeremy.
Is he really good with figuring out how to plug numbers in and how to make it work?
He was figuring it out. I would say so.
You got to have a rock star to come up with a company that has pretty much nothing coming in and figure out a way to not only get stuff coming in, but now you got to get all your vendors paid, because if you don't pay your vendors, your company goes around, you're circling the drain.
Right.
Because they're going to quit caring about your phone calls.
Yep.
But you guys figured out how to get that done. So at what point how many years in did you go, we're going to make it and we're going to really make it?
Well, that's a good question. And I get that a lot. And I want to say maybe 5.
5 years.
Yeah.
Good.
Maybe 3. We were like, okay, we're on to something.
We can do this.
We're on to something here. And that was after a lot of hurdles and a lot of hardships.
Sure.
And I mean, at 2 years in, I almost decided to exit the company. And I had briefly told you about it before.
Yep.
About 2 years in, before we started taking paychecks, Jeremy and I were having a conversation about whether I should go out and get a job. So we had a paycheck coming in.
You got a new baby. You got a baby. It's 2 years old at this point, or close to it. You have your house payment. You are chewing through savings, I'm sure. Was there any point in your marriage where you said, this is hard and I can't do this with you?
Well, this was a kind of an aha, as Oprah would call it, an aha moment that we had, because those were the conversations that we were having. And so we were both praying about it. We were asking the universe for signs. We're like, what should we do? I did not want to leave Harimari, but we didn't really know what else to do.
You got to survive.
Yeah. And so I love this story, and I'll just dive into it. A girlfriend of mine gave me Joanna Gaines' book.
Okay.
And said, I had never seen Fixer Upper. She's like, you have to read this book. There's so much relatability, husband and wife team, starting a business while raising a family. You should read it. And I was like, well, I don't know who they are, and I haven't watched the show, but sure, I'll read it. And I started reading it about the same time that Jeremy and I were having these pretty heavy conversations about what to do with the business and if I should go get a job, and loved the book. They were so honest and so real about how financially difficult it was and how it was hard on them, but they just believed in it, so they kept going. And I finished the book, and I walk out into the living room on a Saturday morning, and I'm telling Jeremy that I'd finished the book, and I was bummed about it, and he kind of shushes me. And the first time we turn on Fixer Upper in our home, I'm walking out having just completed the book, and he's like, shh, 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 shh. I'm like, what? He points to the screen, and at that exact moment, Joanna Gaines was wearing a pair of Harimaris. Turns out she had been wearing them every other episode for the first 3-4 seasons of the show.
No idea.
No idea. So then people were going online, Googling what flip-flops does Joanna Gaines wear. I swear to you. And so People Magazine picked it up, Life and Style, like all these publications. And I was like, well, I got my sign. I mean, and it was a very pivotal moment for Harimari because sales started skyrocketing on the style that she was wearing.
Oh my goodness.
Like through the roof on Nordstrom.com, Zappos.com.
You can't make this up. Like this is crazy. Okay, I didn't know this. Did you know
I
this?
didn't know that either.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was my moment. That was my sign. I was like, well, I got to keep going.
Did you call her up?
No, we did. I did find out who her publicist was and asked them if we could make a donation to a children's hospital in Waco in their name, just as a thank you. Huh. And strangely, Waco doesn't have a children's hospital. Mm-hmm. So we ended up not. We just obviously added to our donations to Cook Children's. But I don't. To this day, I don't know how she got them or where she got them.
Does she still wear them?
I honestly don't know because I haven't been on television in a while, so I don't know. But
wow, what a crazy story! This is just one thing after another.
Yeah, I mean, this is the universe truly making this happen.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, people look at you and they go, "Oh, here's this rich chick that's just got it made and is selling all this stuff and probably got her Lexus
pretty
outside.
Young woman, lives in Lakewood in Dallas,
all handed to her.
Yep,
and they have no idea that you've been in the trenches.
Yes,
you're bloody. You came out covered in sweat and mud, and you came out the other side. And those are the stories that do it for me. Yeah. And Rich. Yeah. I mean, it's those, but nobody sees that.
No.
Everybody, and you don't talk about it. You don't go around saying,
"No,
I just almost killed myself trying to get here." What are you talking? You're not like that.
I own Harimari.
Yeah, but people just don't realize it. So I'm glad that people are going to be able to see that it's not easy. If you think you're cut out to take a brand from your mind to the shelves, you may be, but if you think this is going to be a walk in the park.
I mean, you're talking about 3 to 5 years of being drugged through glass.
It's at least 2 years of definitely not having enough.
Yeah.
How are we? I mean, it's survival mode and in the third year, you're probably starting to get a couple of checks coming in. So at least you can find a home for that money.
Right.
But
what did your parents, were they entrepreneurs?
No, but they were incredibly supportive. My dad's an architect.
Okay.
They know Jeremy and they know me well enough to know that, if we're going to do something, we're going to do it. Right.
Okay. So he's an architect, so he's pretty well off.
I would say that. I mean, I grew up in a middle-class family.
Okay.
But you didn't take their money. You didn't want any money. I mean, what was that? What was that about?
First of all, we did 100 events our first year out of the gates, and they watched Aiden every single time. I mean,
so
the
they did have something to do with your success.
They were so supportive in helping with the kids and with me traveling all the time.
Are they local here?
Yeah, they live here in Dallas.
Okay.
And Jeremy's parents do too, and we couldn't have done it without. I mean, the saying "it takes a village." It's very true.
So true. Success is not linear, and it doesn't happen alone.
No, and I give God the credit for everything.
Yeah.
But it's got to have those people in your life,
right?
That it's impossible without them, man.
I mean, could you imagine the show being rock and rock?
It would be a lot more successful.
I tell you what, he would be so far behind right now.
Well, if it was just Rich, there would be perfect technicals, but no personality. If it was just me, the technical would suck, but everybody would be laughing. So
he couldn't even get anything on air or anything recorded.
Don't get me started on record button.
So you realized at this point that, after 2 or 3 or 4, 5 years, really, it took a lot of people, but you still weren't really out of the woods. I mean, you're still going to hit some bumps.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just last year, right, when COVID hit. And
oh, wait a minute. I'm just doing the timing. This store was opened when?
May of this year.
Wait a minute. You opened this store during COVID.
Yeah.
Their internet sales were skyrocketing at the time that COVID happened, because I did a little bit of research on it. So you guys had the foresight.
Research Rocky over there.
You had the foresight to see that, the internet is the future of shopping anyway. But to start a brick and mortar in the middle of COVID,
crazy.
That is just brass balls.
Yes.
And there's just no other way to say it.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to, we're going to do it. And it worked.
What's Jeremy's degree in?
Communications.
My man. That's my man right there, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And mine was history.
Two of my favorite things, literally my favorite subject is history.
Yeah.
In fact, we just did a podcast. I don't even know if it's out yet. Billy the Kid. Maybe it comes out in a week.
Yeah, I think it comes out Tuesday. Billy the Kid.
This Tuesday of this time of this recording. But we love history. Rocky and I kind of history buffs, but we're also interested in these types of things. So I think you can learn a lot about history, right, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely.
Other people's stories.
Well, when you look at the Gaines story, and you look at pretty soon look at your story, it's all got a common thread.
It does.
And the main thing that I love the most about it is the durability of the people, of the players,
the persistence.
You can't. You could just stand there and I could hit you in the face with a ping pong paddle 100 times. It would not change anything about you. Because you've been hit in the face 100 times with a ping pong paddle, right?
We've been beat up left and right over the years. Yes.
How is the store doing? So through COVID, you open the store, and we're in Knox Henderson area in the Dallas Fort Worth area. For all of you that don't live here,
one of the highest panic areas in the state, I'm sure, of COVID.
Oh yeah,
everybody running around with a mask, and the freaking mayor's running around banging his head against the wall. This has been COVID central.
Central, yeah.
How did everybody just wear masks and just kind of get over it?
Well, we felt like it was important. Yes, of course, in the beginning, and then as time went on, but it was a really important conversation that we had with our staff too.
Yeah.
Everyone had to be on board with it. This wasn't just me and Jeremy making these decisions and making everyone have to, get aligned with how we feel about it. Right? It was a really frank conversation we had with everybody, not even just for the store, but at our headquarters. And our team's pretty resilient. And so everybody was on board. And at first, yes, masking up and all the things. And then eventually, as everyone's kind of given the choice more now, publicly, not just within Harimari, we do the same here. So if people come in and they want us to wear masks, absolutely. And if people come in and don't, then that's their choice. And
the customer's always right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Rich and I did a podcast of Marty Bryan, who started Marty B's. I don't know if you've ever heard of the restaurant, but it's in Bartonville. It's a great restaurant.
Yeah, amazing.
But they were very young when COVID hit, and he was talking about how we're going to capitalize on this. We're going to we are going to change whatever we need to change so that our numbers keep growing. We keep going. The answer is yes. We're not going to stop.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how they.
He grew the menu actually during COVID.
Yeah, he increased his menu.
Everybody else was cutting back, and he's like,
worried about their supply chains.
Yeah, we're going to grow.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that persistence, that drive, that endless drive to succeed. How is the store doing?
It's doing great. It's been so fun opening up a store in Dallas because so many people either aren't familiar with Hari Mari, or if they are, they had no idea we were a Texas brand and Dallas based. So that's been really cool, kind of putting our stamp here.
Yeah, and here we are coming up on the holidays, so you're going to have a bunch of people coming in here buying stuff.
We hope so. But really, I say this all the time, and I'm sincere in saying so, and me sitting with you two is evident of that. The amount of support we've gotten from strangers, people in the Dallas community, has been so incredible. And the stores just is no different, right? Whether it's shoppers or you guys being here today wanting to tell our story with me. And it's really
right.
Really
what were the odds?
We met through a woman who owns a magazine in our neck of the woods, and she was telling me your story, and at first she said, you need to meet Lila Stewart. She owns Hari Mari, a flip-flop company. And Rocky, to be honest with you, I thought a local flip-flop company. I didn't really put I didn't put everything together. Right. So then I started doing some research Richard.
Kind of like when I thought Scott Tixier was just another violinist
guy. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then I realized that, wait a minute. And then I started asking Camille some questions about, you, the story. And I'm like, yeah. And the first thing that I go to is how much can I learn from it? And then how can we use this platform to reach other people to learn from your story? And that, to me, is so important, Rocky. Rocky and I went into this with a goal of creating content and doing something fun in a podcast because someone else said that we should. But along the way, we're like, wait a minute, we are meeting incredible people.
Yeah.
And then we were
dumbfounded
that nobody said no.
Cool.
It doesn't matter who we asked.
Yeah, we'll do it. Why? Why would you? We'll do it.
Yeah.
And so when we
could talk ourselves right out of a sale if we don't shut up.
Right. So, but it's true though. And then hearing your story, and I wanted to know more. And so your persistence it's paying off. The quality of the shoe, like in the first half of the show that we talked about, or the flip flops were amazing.
Those are the things that make the company though, because you can't just make mediocre flip flops. I mean, for a while people will be blown away by your story, and this is so great and all that, but your flip flops suck.
Yes,
and then
always boils down to product.
Yes,
always.
Yeah, it really does.
And for you to marry those two together, I'm honored that you're sitting here with us, Lila.
Thanks.
And I'm just so happy that we could tell the story.
Yep.
What's next?
My goodness, we have quite a bit of exciting stuff on the horizon. I think first I'll start with how we're morphing into more of a footwear versus a flip-flop brand.
Footwear meaning?
Closed-toe shoes, boots. We have boots are here next week.
Yeah, man.
We have slippers.
He's wearing the competitor.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we're going to change that today.
Yeah. I'm losing my Olakai footwear.
We have slippers, our first slipper collection arriving in November.
Okay.
And then looking to 22 new stores, product expansion. We're launching with Urban Outfitters and Orvis.
Wow.
And
I've seen some of the prototypes of the running / I guess they're anything shoes, but you can dress them up. You can go running in them. So when you travel, you only have room for one pair of shoes, and you can use these. And they're the same quality as the flip-flops with all these different bells and whistles and things that are these little details that you don't ever think of are in the I'm sure they're in the boots too. Yeah. I love the boots.
Well,
the boots.
Man, they look so perfect with jeans.
Yes.
And khakis probably. I mean, I just can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Our customers over the years were asking for more from us.
Wow.
And so it wasn't in the business plan, so to speak. But here we are. We're doing it. We've received an overwhelming amount of feedback. Customers asking for it. They're like, it's kind of funny. It's like, I love your brand. Make a shoe. I want to be in Hari Mari year round, and we'll buy it. Or it was like, I hate flip flops, but I love your brand, so make a shoe and I'll buy it, which is kind of funny. So, but we listened, and so here we are, and kind of turning more into a footwear brand instead of a flip-flop brand, which is exciting.
When does it go into, you have T-shirts too, so when does it go from footwear to now you're in apparel, just apparel?
Well, unbeknownst to us, when we started Harimari, what we didn't know is that we had created a lifestyle brand.
Yeah, not just flip-flops.
Right. And so we found that our customers, not everyone, of course, but they want to wear a Harimari hat.
Yeah.
They want to wear a Harimari tee. They
Means something.
You need to look at sunglasses.
We have. I bet at some point we'll probably make
I
some.
bet you their sunglasses would go
I guarantee you
chart.
that, because everybody already knows the attention you pay to detail. So if you know it's going to be high dollar, high
my
quality,
goodness, could you imagine?
high end, I'm buying them.
I know someone
dude.
you could sponsor doing it for the sunglasses.
I think I know someone too.
I
It's
can't wait to hear who you're
kind of an
thinking about.
upstart. Yeah. You have a soft spot in your heart for upstarts.
Rocky, he will talk himself right out of a sale.
Well, I was about to tuck myself into a sale until you got involved.
Yeah, right. Well, you and your old guys.
Whatever.
Well, I can't wait to have Jeremy on the show too, because I would love to see.
I would love to hear his side of the story.
perspective, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, we get your perspective, and it's just I'm blown away by just everything how it just comes together. And I think if you just hang in there long enough, eventually you get your break, but you have to hang in there.
Yeah.
That's it,
It
man.
takes a whole lot of grit. As you guys know, as entrepreneurs, you can't give up. You know?
Well, you've been very gracious and very selfless, because you've every time we've mentioned the success, you talk about your design team, you talk about Jeremy, you've talked about Grace. I mean, you've mentioned everybody except yourself, and that tells you a lot about a leader too.
Right.
They don't.
You could tell.
Yeah,
She
that's
gets it.
just one of those earmarkings of a racehorse, as my dad always says.
I'm going to take a page right out of one of our favorite podcasts, How I Built This, and ask you the question, luck or skill?
Both. Both.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think we were lucky in our timeline. I think we were lucky that we were able to go to Indonesia and have this background that inspired us to do so many things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we didn't get to Indonesia without Jeremy's skill set and his background for that role and that position.
Right.
And everything that we have accomplished has been, through a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work. Blood, sweat, and tears.
Some things just had to fall your way, and obviously they have. And you continue to grow and share your story.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't realize that there was a flip-flop shortage or a flip-flop style issue if you hadn't gone away for 3 years.
Yeah.
It just probably wouldn't have ever occurred to you.
Right.
I very well would probably still be in my old role in the music
Yeah,
business.
right.
I loved it. Right.
Yeah.
And you would have been just fine.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for having us here today. I'm so inspired by your story, and Rocky.
Yeah, I know.
I
It
mean-
kind of makes the whole rock and rich concept feel. I don't know. It kind of gives me hope. I
For
feel-
us.
it does. It really does, because I mean, we have moments where it's not easy.
No, when you see the numbers, you see the people, and you get this, but the question that we always go back to is how.
Yeah.
How are we going to do this?
Yeah.
And just showing up and being there and being persistent.
That's it, man.
And doing it every single day.
You don't have a roadmap. You don't have a
No.
clear plan.
Nope.
But you show up and you put one foot in front of the other, and
Something
if
will
you
happen,
keep doing that, it'll happen.
Yep. So obviously we're doing this on video. So if you're just listening to the podcast, the video is going to be on our YouTube page and on our Facebook. So go there. You'll be able to see the products, be able to see Lila, Stewart talking about the Harimari brand. And I got to tell you, I'm impressed, and I'm not easily impressed by.
No,
these
I know,
types
but
of things.
there's so many different models, and there's so much attention and detail to every one. You can just tell there's been a lot of time and a lot of love.
Yeah.
You can tell this is not like something you hate doing. You can tell that you really love it. You can just tell.
How important is culture? Just real quick, one last question. This is my last question, I promise, Rocky.
Thank God.
Key.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Culture.
Yeah, we've had to let people go because it didn't fit culturally, and you can't. We're a team. Like you have one weak link, it brings everybody else.
Yeah,
you know?
How does that go? Who's the one that has to fire them?
Well, it depends on who was managing him. You know, and that's awful.
It is awful. That's the worst thing ever to
We're
have to
going to
tell
let you
somebody.
thrive someplace else.
Yeah. The music stopped and you don't have a chair. Yeah, I mean, it is hard to fire people, man. I've done it literally 30 times, and it is the hardest thing. But it usually sets them free because they're not in their lane, and they're not supposed to be there anyway.
That's what I think, too. That's what I say. Yeah.
There's always a reason why.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So.
Well, Rocky, I mean, obviously I could keep talking to Lila forever about her story, and there's probably a lot more to it, some details. And
we've probably covered all of it.
You need to write a book.
Okay.
I think that'd be amazing. So I got everything I got to say. I mean, Rocky,
we do. We truly appreciate you, and Rich will keep on dragging that out for the next 30 minutes if we don't wrap it up. So,
well, you guys are too kind to have me boost my ego today. My goodness, made me feel good. Thanks.
Well,
I enjoyed it.
absolutely.
I really did.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
All right, Rocky, that's all I got. So, hey, come down to Harimari, Knox Henderson area. Come shop at their store. I think you're going to be quite impressed.
Check it out. It's really cool. And we don't just say that. It really is really cool.
Yeah.
Rock and Rich out.
All right. We'll see you guys.